Hi, I'm Julia, and welcome to the Muchier series, where I unlearn all the ways I've made myself smaller, reignite the spark I dimmed for others' comfort,
I don't think I've ever been this sweaty in my entire life.
and remind you of your own unexplored muchness.
Wait, chug.
A few days ago, I landed in Vietnam, or more specifically, Ho Chi Minh City. Besides the amazing food and the humid heat that hugs a cold Swede like me like a warm blanket, the first thing that shocked me was the traffic. As a Swede, I'm not used to traffic being this heavy, and pedestrians stepping right into it as if it's nothing. Because in Sweden, when a car is approaching, you often stop by the crossroad until the car is stopped and then you walk. But if you do that here, if you wait for it, you're not going anywhere. Like the chaos of scooters and cars moving and somehow doing that without colliding, that had the Swede in me just gasp. I could watch it for hours, and I still do. Like always when I eat, I always sit outside and just watch and observe in a maze. Kind of like how I act in social situations. Like I observe and try to see what's needed and adapt to that. If a group needs someone talkative, I talk. If everyone's already loud, I tend to quiet down. So it's kind of funny when people ask me like if I'm shy or outgoing, I kind of don't know what to answer. I just adjust, I guess. And I think it's something that many women have kind of been conditioned to do, to complement the room, to ask, okay, well, what is needed of me in this room instead of what do I need from this room? The desire to be wanted, liked, or at least not be inconvenient. At home in Sweden, if I'm standing by a crossroads and a car is approaching, I stop. I even sometimes pretend to see something in my phone or walk the other way or pretend that I'm not even crossing, just so that the driver won't need to second guess if they need to stop for me or not. Inconvenience, you know? I go out of my way not to be an inconvenience to anyone, even when it inconveniences me. We're taught that politeness or sacrificing is kindness, but sometimes, honestly, it's just fear wearing a nice outfit.
And this doesn't even match.
And here in Ho Chi Minh City, that logic doesn't work. Traffic never stops, unless it has to. And if you want to cross, you kind of just have to go calmly, steadily, and at a constant pace. You don't run, you don't freeze, and you can't overthink too much, which is problematic to me, because I love overthinking. Or, well, we have a love-hate kind of relationship, but still. You just move and you trust that others will move around you as well. If you hesitate too much, that can be dangerous. But if you move with reasonable and clear intention, they'll adjust. The first time, I was like,
Okay, here goes nothing. I have no choice but to cross. So, yeah.
I pretended that I knew what I was doing with confidence, or, well, that's relative how confident it was, but I made it over in one piece. I didn't know what to do before. Like, I was nervous. I was like, how am I gonna do this? But the moment I stepped off the curb, something shifted. The drivers, they just adjusted, and we found this rhythm, and it just kind of worked. The drivers read your pace, and you read theirs. Of course, like, accidents happen. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but in my eyes, it's weird that it doesn't happen more than it actually does, you know? And I wondered, why did I ever think that it was better for me to adjust to everyone else than for everyone to just adjust to each other? And it kind of made me think of how I tend to move through life as well. Like how often I wait for others to stop before I take a step forward, or how I mold myself to make everyone else comfortable around me. And then I wonder why I feel stuck. But if you always try not to be an inconvenience, you'll never cross that street. Not here in Ho Chi Minh or anywhere else. And to move forward, you just kind of have to trust your own rhythm, that you got it, and the others do too. Show others where you're going and where you want to go. Meet them halfway. You don't always need to meet them full way. Otherwise, you know, you'll stay on the curb, watching everybody else live their lives while you make yourself smaller. So when I'm people-pleasing, I can feel it in my body, like this little anxious knot just like growing and growing. Kind of like I'm betraying myself in small, polite ways. Not because I don't love doing things for others, because I do, but sometimes it just comes from fear or shame instead of love, where it should come from. Fear of being too much, fear of being inconvenient, fear of being imperfect. But when I'm in my Muchier flow, I feel light and powerful. Like I'm not hiding anything. Like I'm not ashamed of anything. Like I'm finally breathing air into the parts of me that have been craving oxygen for so long. Becoming Muchier is not about becoming bigger. It's about finally taking a full breath. Because like my Muchier self, she'd cross that road with confidence. She'd move in sync with the traffic, and if she'd messed up she wouldn't feel ashamed of it. She would just go on about her day, knowing that she's not perfect, and that's one of the many things that makes her so incredibly lovable. I would say that here I've learned that I can't wait for things to make space for me. It doesn't work like that. I can't mold myself to move around others. I have to move with them. If you always wait until it's safe, then you'll never move. And maybe that's what becoming Muchier is about as well. To stop waiting for permission to move and to start trusting that the world will make room for you when you do. And okay, sometimes I still take an Uber, but that's growth too. And that's something for the next chapter. I'll see you then.